Hello. Hello. Let me make this just a little bit small. Okay. Can you still see that? Okay. 8055 Cambridge condominiums, 119 Turk. 975 square feet. $75.23 Brushwood in Inwood Forest, 225 Leanne Salmons. $100 McGovern, Unit J. McGowan, sorry. My contacts in. 249, Suzanne K. $116 Whitting Street in the East End, 259-8 James Rosenfeld, Galveston. Dolphin, I love that picture.
Man, they got more pictures of Galveston.
Really?
Last
Yes.
Twice as many.
4009 Firins. I'm just not doing well this morning. In Terabella, Friendswood, 259-9 Terry Kaminsky. I know. $18.50 Saxon in Oak Forest, 359-9 Mark Fawcett. Oh, I know I said that before. That's so cute.
That is nice. So,
119 Ember Branch in Sienna Village, 379 Thomas Claffey in a plantation. $92.14 East Bronco in Western Oaks, 410 Jennifer Lucio. $13,322 Olive Trail, Olive Hill Court, 410 Janice Murphy. Good price. Really? Full-length mirror right outside the shower?
Yeah, I
Where else do you put it?
Back on in, back on
What about major depression?
Inside the shower.
1543, at least let me get dressed. 1543 Lakeside Enclave, 420. Nicole Brindy. Okay, hold on, she sent me about this one. Hold on, she sent me a wrong. Okay, it's open this Sunday from 2 to 4. Let's see if I can read and scroll at the same time. This gated enclave community includes a private lake and a pool. When home, enjoy one of the largest lots and a spacious yard with patio. This flexible floor plan offers first floor living, cook's kitchen with granite countertops, abundant cabinetry for storage and new appliances, featuring over 40,000 in upgrades, including flooring, updated bathrooms, modern fixtures, and a sprinkler system. Walkable to nearby parks on Eldridge, shopping and dining, live, work, play in the thriving energy corridor. Open this weekend, 2 to 4. 6007 Inwood in West Haven Estates, 439, Suzanne Cade. $22514 Bridge Haven in Katy and Grand Lakes, 444-9. Debbie Callen. Ten 105 Valley Forge, 445, Cheryl Ford. Pride Grove Park.
Big townhouse.
$1143 Louise in the Heights, 459, Thomas Claffey.
Kid. I saw the house on that street, it's really nice. Really nice street. I sold 2 houses on the street.
Nice.
459. How big is that?
It is 2518.
Wow.
A nice little yardette.
8511 North Fitzgerald in Sienna Plantation, 464, Sabrina Elias. $2307 Langston in Cottage Grove, 469-9, Stephen Worrell.
This is our builder Millenni. There's 2 floor plans and they're close to the same square footage. He has 5 of them that are going up, 2 are sale pending, these 2 are available. There'll be 1 more coming up, it's in the framing stage. And then behind it on Petty, he's got a shared driveway that's gonna have like 10 more. These are all private driveways that face Langston and have their own address. But they're a real nice product and he's great to work with.
Are they 2-story?
2-story, yeah, they're all 2-story. He doesn't build 3-story, so it's first floor living.
That's
3 bedrooms. real nice room sizes, good flow, good storage. It's a good product.
Millennium. And here's the other one,
Yeah, that's the other one.
just a little bit bigger.
Yep.
Very nice. 2714 Briarstone Point Lane in Cinco Ranch, 539 AJ Whitener.
That's huge.
Forty-three hundred square feet.
Imposing.
Yeah.
Okay.
Look at that kitchen, that's nice.
That's what she's 30 minutes from the memorial office. 30 minutes. Yeah. Well, this memorial office is far. Not that. Not that.
Is it 30 minutes from Memorial, Cinco
Yeah,
Ranch?
it's far. I know you might be there.
Especially depending on how far you go off 99.
Yeah.
Yeah, if you- yeah, depends, yeah.
I didn't know it was that far.
Oh, yeah, it is.
Yeah,
It is.
amount of miles to begin with.
But it's easy, you just get on and go. I mean,
4071 Merrick in Ayrshire, 550 Margaret Vincent.
So this is a house that is pretty much in original condition, but it is, offers a lot of opportunities. It's priced at land value. The lot on this one is over 9,400 square feet.
Wow.
It has a tenant in there, but if you look at this one slide here, you've probably seen these because I've been packaging them differently, but there are 3 adjacent properties that total 36,000 square feet. And it's a great opportunity if somebody wants a land grab inside the city, and the price point is significantly lower than what it would have been before Harvey, so it's essentially on sale. Perfect time for a land
fire
grab.
sale, last call, flood sale.
Marvin, how high do you have to build a house on that?
Well, 2 feet above the 500. So
So
they don't have an elevation certificate on that one because they didn't have flood insurance. It's paid outright. So
Okay.
the house did not flood. So it's got a decent elevation.
The house did not flood, is that what you said?
The house did not flood.
Wow.
That's.
And it has a tenant in it until October 31st, which is actually ideal because somebody could buy it, get their permitting, their design, so forth, while they're still making a little bit of income and start building when that tenant is out. Perfect.
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 Yeah.
Okay, Lamar Tower, Unit 314, 565 Marcia Alexander.
Triple
How many square feet is that?
1708. 1221 Modis,
Modis.
Spring Oak, 649 Carol Lance.
Does this land sale?
Location.
Yeah, that's a nice little street, little neighborhood.
$834 West 43rd Street, 649. I believe this is Eileen Hartman. She just wanted me to tell you she couldn't be here today. They relisted it with a big price reduction. Say how much, just a big price reduction.
Whole paper.
$6309 Pickens in Camp Logan, 689 Philip Alter. 5314 Hidalgo, 712.5. Keith.
We just lowered the price on this. We've had some great interest lately. It's a strange home. It was started in 2005, never completed. It was finally completed in 2017. Marshall Stevenson elevator, 3 Rudd air conditioning units, cost over $25,000. It's got Thermador appliances. It's really built really, really well. It's over 4,000 square feet on 3 stories. It's just a beautiful home. As I say, like new in the Galleria for $712.
Where is it on Hidalgo, Keith?
Just off of Sage, heading west.
Okay.
There's a
West
little
of Sage.
private driveway, little section there, just on this.
Why do you think it hasn't sold already?
Well, we started at 875,000, and that might have been a negative.
There you
to it,
go.
because they went way over. And the
It
neighbors,
might have been a negative.
and,
Diplomatic.
no, thank you. That's what I told. And the neighbor's home, which is the same floor plan, 5316, sold in November of 16 for $690. So now we're at a more approximate price.
Good.
4075 Merrick.
Oh,
Okay.
sorry. So this, look at
Margaret
this.
Vincent.
Is that not adorable? or
Adorable.
what? So this is the adjacent property to the one that we just saw. This is the corner lot, over 13,000 square foot lot. This house has an absolutely adorable kitchen. The master bath is updated, plenty of living space. It's a larger than average ranch house. This room here with the ceiling treatment, so they bumped up the ceiling. They're very eclectic and kind of this bohemian chic feel in this house. They bumped up the ceiling, maintained the rafters, put shiplap in the ceiling, insulation, so it's super cool. They used this as a photography studio and lived in one of the other houses. So this house could be a great house to live in by somebody builds next door at 4071, or build next door and buy this one and use it as a rental for a while. There's so many opportunities with these 3 adjoining properties. Again, totaling 36,000 square feet. If you combine the 2 Merrick properties, neither of which flooded, what's that, 22,000 square feet.
4075 Merrick. 1503 Briarmead in Briar Grove, 825 Ruthie Porterfield. $211 Malone, 948.8. Vicky.
Okay, this is actually living on the first floor. It has a really nice sized back area. It's part of an basement, and it's a second floor master suite, really beautiful. And third floor has a man's cave or a game room with a room size covered balcony, and a study and another ensuite bedroom. So this one actually we're working on an offer right now, but the one right next to it is available. It's not in the rest right now, but we're probably asking to get this one under contract. Get this document.
$14 Hillshire Grove Lane, 949 Roberts Land.
So this is a nice house in Hillshire Grove, or Hillshire Village, Spring Branch area, Spring Branch Schools. It's needs a little TLC. These were the original homeowners. They moved to North Carolina, but it's got a nice study, nice big windows, lots of light in that house. And you'll see it if you go down the family room here. Then the wall up to the left is the behind that is the kitchen. Kitchen probably will be updated, but I had to blast that open and maybe do something with that. But anyway, these people are in their 80s, so they moved to North Carolina, but they're selling. It's got new carpet in it, lots of built-ins. Nice little house, nice location. Not so little.
6111 Wake Forest, 995 Brina. It's you. Okay, 426 North Willcrest for $1 million. Karen.
Okay, this is a David Weekly custom home, like you buy your lot and build onto your own home. So this house has 6 bedrooms. We're gonna virtually stage it today. We just got the photos back. But it's got very nice, big living, dining, big kitchen, breakfast, family room, real open. Just has a very nice layout. Master's down, 2nd bedroom down. There could be as many as 4 bedrooms up and a game room and a media room. So lots of space. That's a little mudroom towards the back of the house and the laundry room. And there's a little hamper that opens up. And so that's top of your stairs. That's your game room. That's the media room, which could even be another bedroom if you needed it to. You know, lots of bathrooms. Got a very nice sized backyard, plenty of room for a pool. If somebody wants one, gated driveway, circular drive. It is on Willcrest. It's $1 million. It was listed with somebody else, I don't know who, but it is, it's being tax assessed at $1,399,000. So it's a lot of house. If you have somebody who wants to be in the area, good schools, it's a good opportunity.
5 Cape Cod Lane,
I told him that too,
$1,001,000,
matter of
Sandy
fact.
Parker.
I love this street. Kind of cute little house though.
2121 Bancroft, $1,549,000, Robert Bland.
Okay, so this is another Bancroft home that we have. It's a little better located than the one we had, or currently have listed. Probably more neutral too, in the fact that the trim is all white. But it's a great house. It's 4 stories, has an elevator, hardwoods throughout, wood frame appliances, little backyard, screen-in balcony on the front on the 2nd floor, on the living room. Master closets have built-ins and have been designed, and we have that great big balcony on the 4th floor too. Great little watch and go. Patio home.
4126 Lanark in Ayrshire, $1,588,000, Stormy Hayes.
So Stormy and I are co-listing this one, and if you look at this first picture, this great room as you enter the house is freaking amazing. And I know that every single listing says great for entertaining. This one is absolutely an entertainer's dream come true. The current owners will hire, you know, a bartender and stuff. We put them all in that great room. The cool thing about this house is it has 3 very large flex rooms / game rooms. And really, they have an extended family, and so they use every inch of the space. 2 of the rooms are, you know, combined in terms of the game room. Could be great for somebody who's homeschooling or somebody that just really loves to entertain. When we get upstairs, you'll see the game rooms. One of them has like a mirror and a ballet bar, which, you know, would be perfect for a fitness room. So this is right here. This is one of the game rooms. And the far end there's a lot of built-ins for study desks and stuff. Then they have a billiards room with another sitting room over there. All of the rooms are very nicely sized. The cool thing about this house is that there are cork floors all upstairs. And cork floors have like amazing benefits from an insulating standpoint to keep the noise down and also just for comfort. The backyard is very spacious. You've got a really large pool as well as plenty of grass area, and it's right down the street from the horse park. So dust off your Rolodex, your database, and find those clients that really, truly do love to entertain.
1647 Vassar, $1,749,000, Connor, here, read this, would you?
Okay.
Oh, do you have it? Okay.
Is that Ann's? Oh, it's
Yeah, it's Wade's.
Wade's. It's a $50,000 reduction to relist. It's open tomorrow from 12 to. And they also have 1718 Cherryhurst open
It's really,
too.
it's pretty nice.
Yes, both are
That's
new
today. Cherryhurst is open today
today.
from 12 to 2.
Both are new construction.
Saw the cherry horse. It's really beautiful. This master's pretty.
Spacious house.
5402 Holly, $1,750,000.
Wow.
Hadley,
Okay, a little different.
Yeah.
That's my spacious house. Told you.
That's cool.
Great. This was custom built by Hirsch Levitt. It's a great house. That big circular, go back one more. Look at that big circular window to the left of it. Move the cursor to the left,
Yeah.
right there. That is a giant window that overlooks the entire backyard from the master bathroom. Yeah. That's the front door entry to the house. You walk in, you've got a huge living room, dining room combination. That's just a little entry hall there.
Oh my God,
The house is very Miami Vice dated.
Just for that,
Cool.
just for the circle trip.
Yeah.
That's
Time.
advice
Uh,
taken.
It's totally back in.
All back in.
The pastels, all that, it's in again.
Not
Is
the
it
kind of
really?
homes, but
Yeah.
any.
Go and tell the seller,
Hair,
please.
everything.
We'll raise the price up to
It's
2 million.
just awful.
Oh,
Uh,
hair.
The hair, yeah. Hair faucets come back. Very good.
High ceilings pretty much throughout the house. The owner is very, very tall. So things were designed like that, keeping that in mind.
great.
Breakfast
Oh,
room that's open to the family room, kitchen open to the breakfast room. Master bedroom down. Look at the ceiling, how it's all staggered and everything. Remind you of the 80s.
Who's that 80s?
There's
Wow.
that window.
Oh, my God.
That's
And
a
yes,
cool-
it's not, and the colors are purple. You are not seeing wrong.
It looks great in the photo.
That's really cool.
So
That's
dated.
It's kind of like, it's like more lavender.
Is it more pastel?
Go with purple.
Go with.
It is dark
Oh,
purple.
yeah, look at that.
Oh, wow.
Study.
Oh.
Who can
Now that overlooks the backyard. Landing area on the second floor,
Wait, what were the things with the
Yeah, what was
slats?
that
What
thing
was
with the
that?
slats?
just decorative.
Okay, no,
Those,
next one, next one.
Next one.
To Jets.
Look at
That
that.
one,
just decorative.
okay.
That's decorative?
That's the AC.
Yeah.
It's the filtration
Yes,
system.
suck it out.
Second floor game room, second floor powder room, movie
Whoa.
theater.
Love the floor.
Look, it's got popcorn.
This is on
And
my
movies.
Yeah, the
site.
floor is
The
really
reels.
cool.
The floor is cool.
Oh my goodness, that
Little
is great.
exercise room. This house really has it all. And then it's got 3 bedrooms upstairs, and they're all en suite.
Whoa.
where's the master?
Yeah.
That's nice. So wait, how many square feet is this all
You
together?
can put one in
Um,
anywhere.
Could you put an elevator in that thing
6212.
that's decorative?
Yes, you could,
You
absolutely.
could get an
You could
elevator.
do like a
You could-
pneumatic
You could, yeah, you
type
could stick
one,
it anywhere.
sure. And it would
It's
look
a
good in
great-
that house.
this
Like
house-
Russell Robinson's.
It's a great house. It's on a half-acre lot. It has never been on the market before.
It's a cool
It
house.
does need a little help, but I think for why we've priced it, it's a great opportunity for something.
It's the coolest house
Very
I've
cool.
seen.
And it's never flooded.
It is a cool one.
2025 Dryden, $1,750,000. David.
I don't know what to say after Headley.
Yeah, really.
Yeah, yeah.
I
Yeah,
forget it.
normally.
How about a normal house?
For all your boring buyers.
2013 Southgate, it's 5,100 square feet.
It's so good.
It's got 1 bedroom down, potentially 2 bedrooms if you want to take the study because it has an ensuite bath shared with the downstairs. Second floor has 3 bedrooms with a great master suite, 2 closets. The third floor was built out for a game room, so you have the capacity for up to 6 bedrooms. As it stands right now, there are 4 bedrooms with a study and a game room. 5,500 square foot lot. Southgate, if you have buyers that are looking to get into equity positions. Southgate, the neighborhood is dying on a vine because the construction on Greenbrier has killed it. So what's happened is it's been a race to the bottom with sellers to try and liquidate their assets. In a year, when Greenbrier is finished, it's going back to where it is. This is listed basically at 1940 construction prices, just moving. So that's all of Southgate. So if you have anyone in Southgate, I've got 7 listings from $1 million to 2.3, all varying sizes. But this is a great value at $340 a foot. Again, I sold 1938 construction 4 months ago for $352 a foot.
3918 Colquitt, $1,799,000, J. Monroe. $2,715 Silverhorn in Katy, $1,000,009.
Yeah, this is a relist at another substantial reduction. This seller paid $2,000,004 for this property. It's listed at $1,000,009. It's in Katy, right off of Fry Road. But this is, go back one, please.
Yeah.
This really is a compound. It's over 10,000 square feet in the house. It has a swimming pool, a lighted tennis court, not just a tennis court. There's further at the bottom of that picture, there's 2 putting greens. There's a very large motor court. You can see the circular drive in the front, and then the driveway is gated. And there's like brick pavers, there's a place to play basketball. Over the 4th car garage is like a guest suite. I mean, really, and that's just the side yard, the grassy one. So if you have kids that want to play, kick a ball, whatever. And 2-story living room, master's down. Dining room overlooks into the little wine room. That's the master sitting room, master bathroom. That exercise room could be an additional master closet. It's right off the master bathroom, you know, inside the master. So if somebody wants even more closets, the space is there. Kitchen. There's there's 2 islands in the kitchen. I mean, everything's on a very grand scale. Kitchen, breakfast, family room open. That's the breakfast room, but it looks like the dining room, but that's the breakfast room. There's a 2nd bedroom down, not master, upstairs, game room and media room. Game room has a big bar, and out that door is a big balcony that connects to where that guest suite is. Study, they're still in the process of painting it, but that's a large steam shower there. And then there's 4 kid bedrooms up together. That's the guest suite, little kids' homework area. The outside, we call it a sports pavilion by the pool, between the pool and the tennis court. I mean, it's really something. So if you have somebody who don't want to go on vacation and just wants to stay home, this would be a good place to do that. $2 million. No, 1.9. It was reduced from $2 million.
Who built the house, you know?
Q Gorilla built the whole subdivision. It's man-guarded access. You can't get in there unless you're with somebody.
509 Bolivar, $2,087,000 Headley.
Okay, I really, really wish I had the before pictures, and I need to put them up. This house has been totally remodeled. It was go back to the top if you wouldn't mind. It was a red brick traditional. I sold this house a couple of years ago.
I remember.
It's located on
Bolivar.
Bolivar.
Nice.
Yeah.
So they slurried the outside, or what is that?
Slurried the outside. It's on a cul-de-sac. It's a very quiet street just outside the loop. He's redone every single surface. It's just an amazing family home, and it sits on 16,000 square feet. Go back.
What did it cost to do the slurry? Do you know?
I have no idea. 16,000 square feet of land. The fireplace to the right, the black one, is in the master bedroom, which is on the 1st floor. Those windows right where the cursor is overlooks the entire backyard. To the left is the family room with sliding glass doors that overlook the yard as well.
Fireplace too.
Yeah.
The fireplace as well. Master bathroom. Behind the wall where the bathtub is a shower that you can access on 2 different sides. One of 2 closets. The closet, this particular closet on the left was originally a study, so it was all paneled and everything. If you look at the ceiling, It's boxed. He's painted all of that. Then the picture to the right, the covered back porch, all of that was added by this particular seller. So you've got a really nice sized covered patio area. These are temporary pictures. We're having pictures taken this evening. It's got a second floor game room, an exercise room. It's just a great, great house that has it all.
5135 Green Tea in Tanglewood.
Green tree.
Green tree.
What did I say?
Green
Green
tea.
tea.
Green tea.
So this is a re-list. This is a John Staub home. These people, this house needs to sell. It is so pretty. I mean, it is, and you know what? If you haven't seen it, you need to go see it. I mean, that's got lots of bright colors. I'm a color girl, so I love it. I get tired of all beige and gray, so. But this house, I mean, it's just, it is stunning, and everything in this house has been updated. They've already moved. They still have the furniture in there. It is gorgeous. Just, the art in there alone is worth going to see, so.
Oh, okay.
And they've done everything in the house, new plumbing, new electrical. They added on to the back of the house. It's got 4 bedrooms, a game room on the 3rd floor, a nice big media room on the 2nd floor. Look at that laundry room, those bright orange cabinets. So cute. But this, yeah, we need to get this sold. So if you know
Have you
anybody.
had any offers on it?
Have we had any offers on it? Gosh, I have to think about that. I think some low ball ones, they weren't, no, it wasn't.
So they didn't have such thing
That
as a lot.
yard is
I agree.
amazing. It really is.
I need to do something about those paver. $314 Hunter's Trail, $5,999,999.
We had this on earlier this year and the builder wanted to take it off so he could get the construction farther along. He projects that it'll be finished in May, and we're having some temporary pictures taken in the next couple of days. If y'all have anyone that's of interest, just call us. We'll accompany any showings. And it's a fantastic house. His construction quality is just incredible.
Huh.
Keep it customized.
3001 Inwood, Walter Baring, a lot, $6,500,000. 43,700.
It's a re-list.
Yeah.
It's right where Lazy Lane
Has he
is.
changed the price on that, or is it stayed the same?
I think it's the same.
Yeah. 6.5, yeah.
Okay, let me get Old Republic in here. Y'all ready?
Oh, yes, ready.
Y'all don't forget, I want y'all to look at, we've ordered some new things for you. Look at these cute shot glasses. 4 of them, $120. Aren't they cute? You're looking for men gifts. Here they are. I can't hear you.
4.
Set of 4. This round platter, we've had it engraved, but you can buy it just without the etching on it. The etching costs an extra $39 or $34. The refresher set, come on, y'all.
They're busy.
Come on.
They're part of it.
There's more refresher set is, we put it out here again because it came with goblets originally, but now it comes with, going over to the microphone. It comes with tall glasses now. Rock cut box, isn't that pretty? 86. Look at this bowl, 122. Scotch glass, yes. Old fashioned, set of 4. 172. So y'all come up and look at these. They are really great. Okay, Old Republic, thank you for breakfast. Come on over here. Who's gonna talk?
I'm gonna talk.
All
right. Hi, everyone. Thank you all so much for being here this morning. I'm Mary D. Whitson with Old Republic Title. This morning we have Heather Harvey, Molly Evans, Jody Stalker, Megan McIntyre, Susan Clark, and we have 2 escrow officers with us this morning, Amy Mancuso and Krista Good. Amy and Krista are in our Post Oak office. Susan is in our new Upper Kirby office. So we have a new office, so please come visit us there. A couple of things I'd like to tell y'all. We've got some classes coming up. We have Legal 2 on Monday, April the 1st, from 9 to 1. If you need that, please email your marketing rep and let us know when we sign you up. Rob Cook is teaching that class. On Friday, April the 12th, we have a KonMari class. That's the, where if you find joy in it, keep it. If you don't, throw it out.
Ever CD credit?
KonMari is not CD. You can come learn all about it, Marlon, okay? In the Upper Kirby office, we have disclosure issues with Justin Flint. That is not a CE class, but it might be very interesting. FSBOs and expireds is a CE, and that's on the 28th from 12 to 1. That's a 1 hour. So we've got lots of classes. We're here to educate you and help you in your business. We love working with Martha Turner, Sotheby's International Agents. And we're located at 777 Post Oak, very convenient. On a day like today, you can actually walk over.
When do y'all get your food trucks back?
Yeah.
You know, they used to have food
We're gonna have
trucks.
buses.
Once they
Yeah.
started
Pretty soon.
tearing up Post Oak, we miss your food truck.
We do too.
Yeah.
We're just glad to have a road back.
We're gonna have a real place to eat when maybe you can come eat.
Okay, we will.
Yeah. Yes, it is, but anyway, we'll wait for your food truck. We're excited.
there you go.
Thank you for
Thank
bringing
you.
it.
Thank you.
Really appreciate it. Thank you, thank you, thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, real quick, Terry. Let's just, y'all are always, y'all tell us that we don't tell you what we're doing enough, so we're gonna tell you real quickly, right? What's going on?
Okay, just real quick, on this coming Friday, Dawn Weaver is a sponsor of the Wilchester Carnival. So if you're out and about in Memorial, stop by and visit her. That's a fun family event. We've been doing that one for a while. On Saturday in Kingwood, if anybody's out in Kingwood, they're having a big annual festival. That one's going to be a lot of fun with music, food trucks, family events. They're going to have a booth there and a table at the office also. So stop by there if you're out there. I know that's far out. Then at Valley Oaks Elementary, that is a long-standing event there. I think it's been going on for like 30 years or something. So we will be there handing out our snow cones. And then the next week, we're sponsor of the Fun Run at Memorial Park. Bessie is going to participate in that, and we'll also have a booth cheering the runners on. We could use a couple more volunteers at the booth if anybody wants to help, and we have a couple free entries still available if anybody else wants to participate in the run. And then we'll also be at the boat show at Town Lake. So if anybody wants to help with that, or come out and see the
There are a
boats.
lot of places y'all need to, this is a way to go meet people.
Yeah, this is the way to go meet people. All these events are always on the hub that you can see them under community calendar. And you can always sign up to volunteer or just come help out and come see us. That's it.
Perfect. Okay, Philip, stand up, wave your hand. Philip is a new experienced builder who was working with Jonathan, and he is another experienced person in the East End. We are going to take over the East End. We already have taken over. Philip, welcome. We're glad you're here. Okay, are you ready, Mr. Gettinger? Did I do it right?
I don't know the right words.
Brian Gettinger is a professional engineer, and I can't wait. We saw this, or we saw a picture of it, and I said, oh my gosh, why are we not doing this? So you're going to be able to tell us what we need to do to push it through, what it's going to do for us, Brian, and this is going to address the challenges. We don't have problems in Houston, we have challenges in Houston. And the challenge is to stay alive during the rainfall. So come on up, Brian.
All right.
And we are so glad you're here.
30 seconds.
30 seconds. All right. So a little backstory. So I moved to Houston on August 25th, 2017.
There you go.
Well, I was intended to move to Houston. I actually bought a house from a Sotheby's listing agent in unincorporated Brazoria County. My agent told me, do not, I had a flight that morning, Friday morning, Hurricane Harvey.
Yep.
Like, do not fly in. I was flying from San Francisco, here. And I heard the hurricane was going to hit Port Arthur. So, no big deal, right? It's supposed to rain a lot in Houston. I didn't get it. I grew up in Kansas City, so I hadn't been in Houston before. I didn't fly in, thank goodness, because I would have been stuck in a hotel with no food for my kids for 3 days. But we got in the house a couple weeks later. Didn't flood, despite some dumb luck. But I saw a lot of homes in Bel Air, Meyerland, Cinco Ranch that either were near flooded or flooded potentially. And so I had a lot of sympathy for people that did flood, because looking at houses, I'm an engineer that does flood control projects.
Oh my God.
And I looked at homes in Grand Lakes, Cinco Ranch, and I honestly wasn't even thinking about it as a risk, which is embarrassing a little bit. Well, not being from Houston, you don't think about the pervasive flooding. I mean, I remember looking at listings online that were in Bel Air. I couldn't figure out why the drywall was cut off halfway down the wall. What kind of remodeling project is this? Why do they do that? And then it finally clicked that, oh, that house flooded up to the wall. So we're going to talk a little bit today.
I'm ready.
Go ahead, John. You can back it up.
Not going back.
No,
Let me try it here.
Okay, so we're going to talk about a concept today that will help facilitate flood risk management. This is not going to, it's not a magic bullet, doesn't fix everything. It won't get done tomorrow, right? But if we're talking about what's the next big flood control project for Houston to help the region prevent flooding, this I think should be at the top of the list. I am excited to announce that Harris County Flood Control District does have a request for proposal that they were solicited and responded to. My firm responded to it also. They're going to study this concept in detail and identify, is it feasible to move forward? Clearly, I think the presentation, you're going to say, well, Brian thinks it's feasible. We'll be talking about it. But they wanted a full-blown engineering study for a few $100,000 to help prove it's feasible. So
Make sure I turned it on. That would help. Now it works.
aha. So Houston spent a lot of time building detention projects. Started back Barker and Addicks Reservoir, 1930s, but we need more conveyance. The bayous are maxed out. White Oak Bayou is maxed out. Buffalo Bayou's overmaxed. We found out during Hurricane Harvey. Brace Bayou's maxed out. Even after the Brace Bayou federal project, still have enough capacity. Well, most of Bel Air is still in the 100-year to 500-year floodplain, even after the Brace Bayou project. So we need to build more conveyance. The conveyance thing is not a new topic. So this is photos from 1929, 1935 floods. A lot of people want to talk about Houston floods because of all the development. And I'm not here to say that that's not true, but Houston would flood whether it was developed or not. Does it flood more because of development? Possibly. But in 1935 and 29, Houston's population was, anyone want to know population of Houston?
Yes, 150,000.
A little bit more. It's like 350.
350, okay.
But air conditioning wasn't invented yet, so it wasn't necessarily a great place to hang out in the summer. So there was, in this flood, 5 to 16 inches of rain fell. Most of that rain fell in Cypress, West Houston area, and then caused massive flooding along Buffalo Bayou. At that point, Cypress Creek wasn't really developed, right? There was nothing up. There was no Lake Houston. There was no Kingwood. None of that was there yet. But Buffalo Bayou and White Oak Bayou flooded massively in downtown. This flood led to the creation of the Harris County Flood Control District. Harris County Flood Control District exists as a non-federal local sponsor to partner with the Army Corps to build flood control projects. And the first one that they built was Barker and Addicks Reservoir. Those projects were built in the 40s. It's really almost a miracle that they were constructed, because what else was happening during the 40s that we spent all our money on? World War II, right? So this flood control plan came out right as the United States was getting into World War II. Barker and Addicks Reservoir, Cypress Creek Levee. Folks have heard about the third reservoir project on Cypress Creek. That's really what this is. Keep water out of it, right? There was a reservoir on White Oak Bayou that never got built. there was a canal on the north side and a canal on the south side. Those canals were built to provide conveyance. So in the 40s, Houston's population was under 400,000. They understood they needed to provide conveyance, right? This was intercepting water off of Buffalo Bayou, taking it to Galveston Bay, intercepting water off of White Oak Bayou and taking it over really where Lake Houston is now. They knew that was needed then. What happened? Well, they built Barker Addicts, thank goodness. If Barker Addicts didn't exist, Houston would not have been developed like it did. Barker Addicts protected Houston for 80 years until finally the back broke during Harvey. It took too much water. Flooded everyone on the upstream side and the downstream side. But they also needed to move water. And unfortunately, during World War II, all the funds were diverted to the war effort. They only built Barker Addicts. Put the pencil down for a few years. Carrier invented air conditioning. Right, Houston's population has gone from 400,000 to 6.5 million now. And these routes, North Canal, South Canal, you guys see where those are. They're not constructible. You can't build an 800-foot wide channel. I mean, you can't widen Buffalo Bayou, right, as it is right now. There's environmental and all kinds of political interests want to do that, much less cut a new channel. So the tunnel concept really is trying to recreate this, but doing it underground and not causing surface disturbances. Why do we need to do this? Benjamin Franklin quote, our grandfathers or great-grandpa generation built Barker Addicts Reservoir. That protected Houston for almost a century. If we want Houston to continue to grow, an investment needs to be made in kind to protect it for the future. So Harris County has a bond program, right? $2.5 billion, that's great. There's some state legislation about the rainy day fund, tapping that for another $1.5 billion, that's great. But the estimated need for flood protection in Houston is around $30 billion.
Wow.
West Houston Association's assumed about $25 to $30 billion. So that's $2.5 billion a lot. Sounds good, but it's just a start. And so some of these kind of big projects have the ability to tap into more federal aid that can extend that further. So tunnels. Has anyone ever been in a tunnel?
Yeah.
Anyone, you ever go skiing in the Rockies, right? You drive through the tunnel there.
Yeah.
So Houston doesn't have rock, right? Anyone knows Houston? You put a pool in your backyard, dig a hole 5 foot deep.
Right.
Wants to heave, fills up with water. They're like, don't ever drain your pool. If you do, it's going to go right, right, all that kind of stuff. So I'm talking about digging a hole 40 foot in diameter, 200 feet underground.
Oh my God.
People give me the crazy eyes, right? All the times. I've been talking about this for over a year. I've got a lot of crazy eyes from people. So I've heard a lot of why this won't work. The first reason is it costs too much. A tunnel of this size costs $100 million a mile.
A mile.
A mile, right? So we're talking about a $2 to $3 billion investment to build a tunnel from Barker Reservoir to the Houston Ship Channel. But
Wait, how many miles is it from?
23 miles. Following I-10.
Yeah.
Falls I-10.
100 million per mile.
$100 million a month. That's a rough number. I think it'll be a little bit less than that, but we'll say 100 million. It's easy to do
Let's
math.
say 90, yeah, middle math, we'll go for
Easy to
that.
do math. 100. Let's talk about too expensive, because it's too expensive compared to what?
Right.
What was the damage along Buffalo Bayou from flood damages? But just east of the reservoirs, what was the flood damages? It was in the billions, probably. What was the damage upstream of the reservoirs? And Cinco Ranch, Grand Lakes, Canyon Gate, it's in the billions again. So $2.5 billion, flood control projects are justified on flood damage reduced, right? So significant damage reduction. So maybe it's not that expensive. Also, what does it cost to widen Buffalo Bayou to 600 feet wide from the reservoir to the ship channel? This, in theory, you could do it, right? Everyone knows you can't do it, but could you do it? Talking about acquiring about $4 billion in property along Buffalo Bayou. Some of the nicest homes, as you guys know, in Houston are along Buffalo Bayou. And those people have good lawyers. Yeah, they would never sell them. And if you could sell them, the environmentalists won't let you do it in the first place. So compared to the other alternatives, it actually isn't as expensive as it sounds. It's a big number, $1 billion, right? But the Army Corps wants to spend $30 billion on the Ike Deck project, coastal protection. So in Houston, big infrastructure projects, having $1 billion on it really isn't big anymore. We've got to that stage of a city where TxDOT wants to spend $6 billion on interchange downtown. The ground is no good. The pool example, right? We have clay and sand and sandy clay, high groundwater. Those make it hard to dig a hole. 30 years ago, it would have made it pretty much impossible to dig a hole, but technology has improved dramatically since then. Washington, D.C. has very similar soil to us. It's on the coast. It's got clay and sand, high groundwater. They're currently building their 15th mile of 23-foot diameter tunnel for their stormwater and sewer system.
Wow.
So can be done. Hasn't been done in Houston. That's at the scale, but it can be done.
Where else has it been done? DC and where else?
So DC is the most similar geology. Seattle just built the biggest tunnel in the United States, which is 57.5 foot diameter for a highway project. It's got much more complicated geology. They have earthquakes there. They've got big granite cobbles mixed in with soil mixtures. And then there's other examples of hydraulic system in Texas, which we'll get into in a second. And then, but you know, you guys are realtors, right? You have the not in my backyard people, right? You don't want people to build in their backyard. And then that we haven't done it here before, so we can't have it. That's not a very good excuse, right? Houston's made of people that move in and out of the country, different parts of the state. We got a lot of smart people here at the Space Center here. We can't, just because we haven't done it in Houston, so we can't do it. And Dallas is building a 35 foot diameter tunnel right now. So ours needs to be at least 36.
Yeah.
And then it can't move enough water. This one's one of the funnier ones. As an engineer, I've got training in this, right? But the concept of an inverted siphon really confuses people. So good news is it's pretty simple to explain. So Barker Reservoir, max pool before it leaves the 100-year inundated area, which as we know is a big hot button, right? 95 feet. Houston Ship Channel is 0. It's tidal, right? Maybe 1 to -1. During Ike, it was at, I believe, 15 feet during Ike, and it was at 18 feet. Let's say 18 feet, worst case scenario. So worst, at most, you have a 100-foot differential elevation. A to B. Worst case, you've got, say, 75. What that is in a hydraulic sense, it's called driving head. That gravity, which always works, pushes on this water here, and the water tries to find the path of least resistance to get out. If there's a hole down here, it will leave that hole at a rate which is a function of how big a diameter is your tunnel, how long is your tunnel, and how rough is the side of the tunnel. It's just like a channel, except it's circular and it runs under pressure flow. So this tunnel can move 8 to 15,000 cubic feet per second. So everyone probably heard this, cubic feet per second after Harvey, right? Army Corps released 14,000 CFS from Barker Reservoir and flooded everyone on Buffalo Bayou. A CFS, cubic foot per second, is essentially a basketball of water, one basketball per second, times 10,000. This is talking about a lot of water, but a lot of water was released, and I need to move a lot of water. So this can move, 10,000 cubic feet per second from Barker Reservoir to the Ship Channel. So what? Well, if this existed during Harvey, we'll play Monday morning quarterback. Had we had this system before Harvey, this tunnel could have released water for the entire storm. They would have not had to hold water during the storm. They could release water at 10,000 CFS. Now, there's so much water coming into Barker Addicts that it still would have filled up and may have even exceeded the 100-year pool, but not by very much. Some initial analysis says, hey, Barker Reservoir would have never exceeded the 100-year elevation. The tunnel existed. And then after the storm's over, on Monday, when the Corps opened the gates, they don't need to release any water anymore because this thing released 10,000 CFS. So they would have dramatically reduced the flooding upstream of the reservoirs and downstream of the reservoirs. Now, the bad thing is this thing costs $2 billion. This thing takes 5 to 10 years to build, right? It's not a tomorrow item. And we didn't have it, we needed it, right? But the investment angle is how can we build something like this that next time we have an event like Harvey, you're better prepared than we were now.
So this is primarily addressing just downstream from the reservoir. What about, would that also protect the areas like Bel Air and Myron?
Great question. So the challenge with this concept is that many parts of Houston have flooding problems, right? Kingwood, Cypress, Grays, Bayou, Holon Grays Bayou, even down Friendswood area, southeast side. This tunnel specifically addresses a corridor along I-10, say 5 miles north of I-10 to a couple miles south of I-10. It's the way the topography works. The water could all drain to this tunnel and leave. Grays Bayou has its own challenge. And so on Grays Bayou, this graphic looks a little bit different. Say at 610 in Grays Bayou, elevation's about, what goes to ground surface, about 50 feet for those houses. So right now, this water goes from Barker into Buffalo Bayou and then tears up the sides of the channel, tears up the park, tears up everything, rips everything out, and then dumps it into the turning basin. Instead of doing that, this water now goes in the tunnel, and it's a concrete line, right? So it's not going to get any more sediment in it than it had before. Barker Reservoir is a low sediment zone, right? It's low velocity, the sediment all falls out. So what you get at the Ship Channel is water that has low sediment load and probably low pollutant load, because that when the water floods, it goes through gas stations, convenience stores, backyards, homeless establishments. You have trash and stuff in it. Here, it's a contained system. So you're gonna get cleaner, lower sediment water coming out the other side, which actually may push sediment out of the ship channel. So it has to be studied. A big environmental study has to be done on this. But my perception is that the water will be better coming out. It'll be different though. The water coming out of here will be different than it coming out of Buffalo Bayou. And so it's because it's better doesn't mean it's better for the bay. So that's something I have to prove out. That will be a big study. The water leaving the tunnel, is it better or worse? And how does it impact the ship channel and the estuary in the bay? Because we don't want to have a negative impact on that.
This works when we have a flood that comes from the west or the north, but what happens when we have a hurricane that comes right in the chute and backs up the bay and then lands on us and stops, and now it can't get out?
Excellent question. So the situation he described is an Ike event, Hurricane Ike style event, plus more rainfall, which would be considered kind of the worst case scenario. So you have a storm surge that pushes water into the ship channel, say 15, Harris County wants to talk about 18 feet elevation, which has somewhat devastating impact on it itself because of storm surge. So you got your water on this end is now not 0, it's now elevation 18. Good news with this system is it's gravity flow. So even though this end's 18, this end is still 100, and downtown Houston's elevation 40 to 45 feet. So water will still leave. The rate it will leave without a pump station. So this is all it's going to be gravity flow system. Without pumping it, will be reduced. So if you could move 13,000 CFS at 100-foot differential elevation, if you take that down to 80, now you can only move 10,000 CFS. So now you reduce your capacity by 25%. It's still moving 10,000 CFS, but it's moving less. And so the whole point of this, 1, provide flood protection. 2, take people out of the flood zones, right? Remap the floodplains. So when you remap those floodplains, you have to do that with the understanding that this system could have a storm surge event, right? So you probably your rated capacity of the system is probably the 8,000 CFS, but you know that if it's a dry weather event or not a storm surge event, you actually have 14,000 CFS capacity. So you don't want to overpromise the conveyance because that storm surge event could happen. It could back up water, but it can't back up water higher than the rest of Houston. So it'll still push water out, but the rate it will push out may be reduced. Good question. And feel free to keep asking questions as we go. That doesn't bother me. So why do you do tunnel projects? Really, the biggest is urban constraints. If this was still 1935 Houston, then we'd just build an 800-foot wide channel. But we can't, right? There's too many road crossings, too many utility crossings, too many houses, too much impact. And these other ones are really all kind of subcategories to urban constraints. Environmentally, people don't want to see the natural channel for Buffalo or Cypress or Clear Creek be turned into White Oak Bayou. They don't want concrete line channels, but they don't want to flood. So they're kind of stuck, right? Within the Beltway 8 loop, Houston is essentially urbanized, and there's nowhere to build a large detention pond like Barker and Addicts Reservoir. Even the third reservoir project up on Cypress Creek, that'll take 10 to 15 years to permit probably because there's so much environmental impact on the Katy Prairie. Community-wide, people first are like, ooh, tunnels, I don't know about that, right? Number one, we're not going to under people's houses. That's not the intent. This is going to follow public right-of-way as much as possible. And if it goes under someone's property, it's going under their yard, not under their house. So most communities, when they understand what, if they said, hey, tunnel this or do something else, tunneling is generally perceived as a positive because it has a much lower impact on the public. Yes.
How long of a stretch at a time do you work on if it got approved?
Great question. Can I catch that in just a few minutes? Yes. Okay. Because it's how the project is broken into pieces. Tunnels just allow high density development for infrastructure. Just like a skyscraper, just like we're on the 7th story of this building, if this land wasn't valuable, we would build a 1-story building on it, right? But it's valuable, so you build a 10, 20, 30-story building on it. Tunnels are not built in rural areas that have low land values. They're built where you have high land values and you want to protect the surface and use the surface for future. You guys probably appreciate this. So when you build a tunnel under someone's property, if someone has a utility easement on their property, like I do in my backyard, I have a 16-foot utility easement. I had to put a pool in. That was a big pain to try to put a pool in and not touch the 16-foot easement in the back of my house. This is not a utility easement under your property. You're buying what's called a subterranean easement. It's sort of like buying someone's mineral rights. And that easement language says, thou shalt never penetrate a box into the ground. So the box might be 150 foot under the ground, and let's say the box is 50 by 50. That language in the deed will say, hey, don't penetrate the box. So no water well, no oil well, no really, really, really deep foundation, but most foundations for buildings this size or bigger are like 80 feet deep at the most. So you're not affecting the property value for future development. Someone,
This is how many feet down?
150, a lot,
150 feet?
a lot. It could be 300 feet deep. That's to be figured out.
Okay.
They built tunnels 1,000 feet deep. So the good news is that property owner, trying to get the easement from them, if they want to sell their property in the future, I mean, it's gonna deduct the property value in some way because no one wants to have their house in a big tunnel under it. It's just a perception issue, right? Even if it's not under the structure, it's just a perception thing. You'd rather not have that, but you'd rather not live next to a power line, right? But it's gonna be a minor deduction. So these easements cost a few $1,000s, not $50,000 or $100,000 for a property owner. In most cases, they have essentially no impact on the property, particularly if there's no shaft there.
Just to scale, is this roughly like a channel size that they used over?
Bigger.
It
You
is
see
bigger.
the person
Yeah,
there?
bigger in diameter. Yeah, most highway tunnels or rail tunnels are about 20-foot diameter. Sorry, most rail tunnels are 20-foot diameter. Highway tunnels are the big ones, right? Seattle, 57-foot diameter. We're talking in the middle, 40-ish foot diameter. There's some highway tunnels that size.
And how long with water running through it will this concrete last?
I mean, forever. So the concrete corrosion challenges exist mostly in wastewater environments. You get hydrogen sulfide. Hydrogen sulfide creates a bacteria that's called concrete vociferus. That's actually titled, each concrete is the name of the bacteria. This is stormwater, so it doesn't have that. So this system would be rated at 100-year service life if maintained. There's concrete from the Romans that still exists. It wasn't. So it's permanent structure.
Okay.
Tunnels been done everywhere. In Texas, there's a tunnel like this in Austin. San Antonio has two, and Dallas is building one. They're not as big as this. The scale is different, but the concept, inverted siphon, gravity stormwater tunnel exists. Who's been to Riverwalk?
Everybody.
Everybody been to Texas, right? Been to Riverwalk. Who knows there's a tunnel under Riverwalk?
Nobody.
Oh,
One. I saw one hand in the back. All right. That's about the answer I get. Maybe 10% people know that. Even in San Antonio, I say about 20% of people know there's a tunnel under Riverwalk. The reason the Riverwalk is developable property and economically sustainable is that because there's a tunnel that bypasses the flow from north of downtown San Antonio to south of downtown San Antonio. There's Riverwalk right here. If that tunnel was not there, Riverwalk would flood too frequently to build anything insurable on the property. So it moves. This one is not as big, right? 6,700 CFS. That's still a lot of water. 150 foot deep, 3 miles long. Goes down, comes up. San Antonio is not very creative with naming things. If you go there and you want to see it, you Google Tunnel Inlet Park for the inlet, and you Google Tunnel Outlet Park for the outlet. I suspect Houston's a bit more profiteering and might sell naming rights or name it, maybe get Chevron or Shell to sponsor one of the shaft sites.
That's right.
Or name it after somebody. But if you want to go there, these are public places, right? You can go, here's the inlet structure, right? It's park. You can park the car right here, walk over, take a picture. It's not, you guys aren't engineers. It's not as exciting as it would be an engineer. But if you're there, it's a couple miles from Riverwalk. It's worth it.
And how long did it take to build?
It took them, I think, about 3 years, 3 or 4 years. They had some challenges. This was 20 years ago. They built this, and the technology is a lot better now than it was then. So the river comes down. They widened the river in this section. You can see there's a driveway right here. This is a big concrete line section. It's a big sediment trap. Capture that sediment before it goes in the tunnel. Screens here. Water goes through the screens. Most days it goes back in the river. It's not flooding. It just goes back in the river. It goes through. It's a pass-through system. What these screens do is take all the trash out. Debris, trash bags, shopping carts, whatever ends up in the river. Doesn't go through downtown San Antonio because no one wants to see a shopping cart or a trash bag floating the Riverwalk. At flood stage, this water falls into the tunnel shaft, is right here, and goes in the tunnel instead. So the river still conveys water. The tunnel provides parallel conveyance. It's like the Hardy Toll Road, right? Hardy Toll Road was built to provide parallel conveyance, right? Tunnel's the same thing. When needed, it provides parallel conveyance. When not needed, it's there as backup capacity. In San Antonio, they actually use a tunnel for a big tank. Certain times in San Antonio, it rains too much. Other times, it doesn't rain enough. Sometimes in the summer in San Antonio, there wouldn't be any water in the Riverwalk at all. They didn't pump it out of the tunnel.
No.
Now, if you follow the Riverwalk, and I need to tell you, Riverwalk water is stormwater. They also pump all their effluent from the wastewater plant in the Riverwalk. Now, it's treated, right? But don't drink it. That's not
Oh,
true.
my gosh.
And there's the outlet structure on the other side. There's a big brewery here, Alamo Brewery. See the star, right? You can walk right on top of here, look out. It's outlet park. So San Antonio's operated 20-year history. The city operates it. It's worked very well. 1 year after it was built, it had a huge flood in San Antonio. I think it paid for itself in the first storm.
Wow.
Timely, right? They built it, and next year it's flooded.
What's
But
the diameter of the San Antonio?
San Antonio's 24-foot diameter.
And Houston?
I'm thinking 40, 35 or 40. And the reason for that, to back up, that's a great question. The reason for that is San Antonio's got 35 feet differential elevation over 3 miles. We don't have that in Houston. It's just the topography doesn't exist. So San Antonio can push more water through a smaller hole than we can. Because the ground's higher on one side than the other side. Houston's flatter, so we need a bigger hole to move the same amount of water. Good news is, just to take you guys back to 7th grade geometry here for a second. A circle, so the diameter is the distance across a circle, right? The cross section of a circle is, what's the equation for the area of a circle? Squared, right? So the area is a power function. So as the diameter gets bigger, the cross-sectional area gets bigger by a squared function. So a 24-foot tunnel is big. That's still a 2-story building, right? It's a big hole in the ground. But a 40-foot diameter tunnel, say twice as big in diameter, has 4 times the cross-section. Talking about moving water, it's all about cross-section. So that bigger diameter helps us move the same water with less differential elevation. All right, we're running out of time. But analogy, who had a phone like this? Anyone had a phone like this?
Yeah.
I didn't. I won't say my age, but my parents had one like this, right? 30 years ago, this was like the top line technology. I thought it was so cool. My parents had a phone like this, right?
Yeah.
Right, it's super cool. Now you got more power in your phone than the Apollo mission had. Right? Technology for tunneling is the same way, except it hasn't gotten smaller and more compact. It's gotten bigger. So 30 years ago, the biggest machine that could excavate ground like this, 20-foot diameter. It's still a big tunnel, right? Hong Kong, 57-foot diameter. They're working on a 63-foot diameter prototype for a job in St. Petersburg, Russia right now. It's huge. And I was in Dallas. I visited the Dallas tunnel 2 weeks ago. They've got a 38-foot diameter machine there. It's a 4-story building. This machine is, say, 4 stories tall, and it's 300 feet long. And so it's a giant, the machine itself costs $20 million, $30 million just to get there to the site. And it is an inchworm. It eats the ground. Wow. I'll send you guys a YouTube video you can share. I could explain this, but it's complicated. It's high voltage electric to hydraulic. But you see on the backside, it's got these concrete segments. So it's cast in place concrete, it's concrete lining. They're built in a factory. They come down and get put in the tunnel. The machine actually erects these segments.
As it digs.
As it digs. So it mines 5 feet, and it stops, and it builds the segments, and it mines 5 feet, and it stops, and it builds the segments, and you guys get the drift, right?
Where's the dirt coming?
So cool.
It's an inchworm.
How are you getting the dirt out of the hole?
It comes out a screw conveyor first.
Oh.
And that screw conveyor dumps onto a belt conveyor, and then the belt conveyor takes it back to the shaft. The shaft.
Manned or completely automated?
It is man operated. So this machine has you can't see it here. There's a couple they're called gantry cars, like train cars back. There's an operator to cab in there. I was on a machine almost exactly like this in Columbus, Ohio 7 years ago. And I was 3 miles out from the shaft, and I was on my phone checking my email. I had Wi-Fi on board. So it's not a white glove operation, right? There's oil and dirt and stuff in there, but it's not guys with a pickaxe, right? You see it in the 1900s.
Dirt on the pit.
So I mentioned the other tunnels. Dallas, 5 miles, $206 million. Austin, everything costs more in Austin. 1 mile, $103 million. Brian said $100 million a mile being in this presentation. Why is this different? So every job, when it gets to construction phase, costs different. You guys build a house the same way. Like every project is a little bit unique. Dallas has got really good rock. Rock is cheaper to excavate. So this is $40 million a mile. That's also a really good price. I don't think we're 2.5 times more expensive than Dallas. I think really this is about a $75 million project, $70 million project a mile. But I want to be realistic. If I told everyone, hey, it's $100 million a mile and it ends up being $150, I'd be an idiot. versus if I say 70, say 100, it's actually 70, then everyone wins. Austin, other thing, tunnels there's fixed prices, there's fixed cost, and there's variable cost. Fixed cost is, say your lot, right? Certain things cost sewer connections, utility connections. Those things cost the same, almost no matter how big the house is. As the house gets bigger or the tunnel gets longer, the variable cost is to spread out. So Austin has 4 shafts and 1 mile. Dallas has 7 shafts over 5 miles. The shafts are a fixed cost. They cost $5 million each or $10 million each. Dallas doesn't have as many, and they're spread out longer. Also, that machine, it still costs $20 or $30 million, whether the tunnel's a mile long or 5 miles long or 20 miles long. But as the tunnel gets longer, you get some economies of scale on cost. I want to get back to your question about how does this thing break into pieces. Because Dallas is a good example, 5 miles. Because there's a certain amount of just, this is high voltage power. You guys have seen transformers, right? Sometimes they blow up during storm events, right? You have to have a transformer every so often on high voltage power. It's about 5 miles. You can build a transformer in the tunnel. It's just in the way, it's big, and it's kind of dangerous to a certain extent. So most of the time, they want to break these projects up into 5-mile segments. Also, trying to bond a construction job that's $2.5 billion is going to be difficult for contractors. You're going to limit your contractor pool. And so it's a supply and demand principle, right? Less the pool of bidders is smaller, what happens to the price?
Price goes up.
Right? Yeah. The bigger the pool, the more competitive the price, the more bidders. It's classic.
What about traffic? I was asking that question for traffic.
Okay.
I'm assuming you're interrupting traffic along these routes. Someone?
Not.
No.
The intent would be not to. The biggest traffic impact would be the trucking of moving the dirt out of the shaft to wherever it's going to get dumped. Okay. So this tunnel, say it starts at the ship channel, Permian Basin. It's about 5 miles to downtown. From there, it's about 5 miles to 610.
Right.
Now you get a little bit longer reaches. You got about 7 miles, 610 and Beltway 8. And you got another 7 miles from Beltway reservoirs. They could do a 7-mile run if they had to, right? But this job is going to be at least 4 segments. 1, 2, 3, 4. Possibly these are broken up to say 6 segments. And so people ask me, okay, Brian, how long does it take to build this tunnel? Right? So you have to say, Antonio, how long does it take to build that tunnel? These machines can do about 2 to 3 miles a year excavation and mining. So that's a lot. A year, right? So you're like, okay, hold on, that's 23 miles. That's 10 years to build it. That's if you use one machine. So these segments, this machine can start here, the same time that this machine started here. This machine started here. Machine started
So
here.
you said right away. So you're talking about like a right of way on I-10 or?
Yeah. So now no one here works for TxDOT, right? So TxDOT's gonna have to prove this, and we'll have to have those discussions. The TxDOT's right of way is about 1,000 feet wide for I-10. So you've got how many main lanes? Like 12, 14 main lanes, and you've got 3 or 4 access road lanes on either side. Right? TxDOT does not like doing their main lanes. It's because they don't want, if there was settlement or something happened to the road, if I-10 got shut down, for example, who would be mad? Everybody in Houston?
I'm Katie.
Yeah, right, good, Katie. So this concept is really probably hugging the south access road I-10. So you're under the public right of way. So you don't have to buy right of way. You're under the right of way. That gets you quite a ways, almost all the way to downtown Houston, following I-10's right of way. The access road eventually goes away, right? So you have to figure out how that works. And then this is Navigation Boulevard. You're downtown. This isn't going to go under a 2-lane road, right? Probably about a 40-foot diameter tunnel. 2-lane road right away is like 25 feet, right?
Right.
So particularly best case, divided 4-lane road with a median, about the right width. And tunnels don't make right and left-hand turns, right? 1,000-foot radius, about the same you see on a highway at 60 miles an hour. And so we can't just turn right? Tunnels, it doesn't do that. It does curve, but it takes a little bit of time to do so. So this is a very preliminary route. Will it look like this? If it gets built, I don't know. But this is a concept. Maximizing right-of-way for the public minimizes time to get right-of-way and cost. Dallas spent about a year buying right-of-way because they didn't do a very good job of following it. In some cases they couldn't, they didn't have a choice. But if you maximize public right-of-way, that minimizes impacts. And it minimizes impacts to road closures and other things. Also following I-10, if you're gonna be trucking the stuff out of here, you're not putting these heavy trucks on a city street or neighborhood street. putting it right on the highway, and they can get out of town without causing a big impact. So the question about where else does this work, right? We talked about this one mostly Buffalo, right? There's a connection here on White Oak that could tie in. There's connections on that, Beltway 8 in Buffalo, 610 in Buffalo, Memorial Park. But Brays Bayou has its own challenges, right? Bel Air, Meyerland, even with the White Oak Bayou project, are still in the floodplain. There's an option there. Cypress Creek has been really interested in this. I'm actually doing a presentation tomorrow night, Cypress Creek Flood Control, for the second time. They already heard the presentation once, they don't hear it again. Because they're really concerned. They got all this flooding along Cypress Creek. It's like 25 miles, 30 miles from Cypress Creek, one side to Kingwood. And they don't want to put any more water in Kingwood. They don't want it, their natural channels are great condition. They don't want to, it's beautiful, right? They don't want to cut it up, put it like a White Oak Bayou. So how to move water? Because the tunnels are possible there. They're actually about an elevation of 120, 130. It's flat, using super flat, you can see a long way, but it does go up eventually on the side. And then we've talked to folks in Friendswood and Pearland and League City about Clear Creek and what other opportunities there. Because the same situation, they have a beautiful natural channel section, but they can't move enough water.
Right.
We live on flat clay soil that doesn't suck water in very good, and it floods. So what do? This is another tool in the toolbox that really, before Harvey, wasn't considered for stormwater. Although there is a tunnel that goes from the medical center into Brays Bayou. It's about 3,000 feet long. It was built after Hurricane Allison. Tropical Storm Allison. Because a bunch of the records in the medical center flooded. We lost a bunch of research. They built the tunnel there to prevent that happening in the future. It's like 15-foot diameter. So it's a mini version of what we're talking about here.
But it goes to the bayou though.
It goes into Brays Bayou. Right. So this
will that slow everything down on the rest of the Brays Bayou?
Well, it's been doing it for 15 years. Right. This is intended to take it all the way to the end point, right? To the ship channel, get it out of here. Because otherwise, you have that challenge. If you put more water into Buffalo Bayou, Brays Bayou, are you causing flooding to somebody else? So I'll end with a terrible pun: is that there is light at the end of the tunnel. I'm clearly biased. I think this is a good idea. I've been talking about it for it's been 18 months since Hurricane Harvey, more than that, almost 2 years now. But it has merit to be studied. The good news is I don't have to tell you guys, hey, talk to your politicians and tell them to study it because Harris County is going to study it. I think as you talk to local leaders and things, if they have questions or concerns about this, it usually takes them about 15 minutes to be like, okay, that's worth considering. Because at first people are like, that's terrible, it costs too much. Can't ever do that here. We have to get people to the curious stage, right? Because oftentimes it's easy to say no to things, and we might find out into the study this won't work. That's possible. A year from now, this might cost too much, or the mall can't move enough water, or it's going to cause too many impacts if it causes flooding along the way. That's possible. But if we're going to be stuck in a we can't do it mindset, then we're never going to fix the problem. We have to be creative, and this I think is something that can push the boundary of creativity a little bit. Really.
How's the tunnel maintained, the lining of the material?
Excellent question. So the tunnel, this is I think a rifle barrel actually, not really a tunnel.
Wow.
It's just an image. Don't do it for the image. Let's see if we can go back to one that has a picture of the lining. The tunnel lining is concrete. And for stormwater application, right, this is a rail tunnel, but it's the same kind of lining.
Transportation.
So the lining's concrete. For stormwater application, you're not going to have the risk of corrosion. For a sewer tunnel, this concrete lining in 15 years would be severely corroded at the top because you get hydrosulfide gas being created by the sewer. We don't have that in stormwater. Stormwater challenges are debris and sediment predominantly. That the tunnel will get filled up with junk and therefore can't move any more water because it's full of sand, dirt, shopping carts, all kinds of things. So San Antonio is a great case study of that. They've been doing it 20 years, their tunnel. What they've done is they have an inlet screen that has a 2.5-inch bar spacing. So anything bigger than 2.5 inches gets caught on the screen and scraped off and put in a dump truck. Anything smaller than 2.5 inches goes in the tunnel. And the question is, does it go out the other side or does it get stuck? If you get stuck, it's a problem, right? Because at some point, think about it, 40-foot diameter tunnel, 23 miles long. If you have 3 inches of stuff on the bottom, that's a lot of stuff, right? It takes a while to clean out. The good news is this water in the tunnel is moving about 10 feet per second velocity. When you design a sewer, you want to have 2 feet per second velocity. That's what they call scour velocity. That means that the crap in the bottom keeps moving downhill. At 10 feet per second, you have significant velocity that can move water and to move stuff. So all that debris is gonna get washed down to the other end. Big question will be, back up to the figures. Big question, so the stuff goes down, right? It's getting washed around, the 10 feet per second push it this way, right? The big question is, if it's really heavy stuff, light stuff, floatables, that stuff will float out, right? It'll fly out the other side, if it doesn't get caught by the screen. Is what happens to the heavy stuff, like the sand and gravel and other junk that gets in the tunnel? Hopefully you put your intake structure somewhere where it doesn't get a lot of stuff in the first place. But what happens, will it come out the other side? So they're gonna have to build a physical model of this to a scale, right? And run a bunch of debris simulations through it to make sure it'll come out. But what San Antonio's found over 20 years is they clean the tunnel out one day. They drain the tunnel, looked at it for one day, put a little bulldozer down there, pushed stuff around and said, it doesn't look that bad, and they took it back out. So they operated for 20 years, essentially no maintenance. Besides the guys, oiling the gates, oiling the screens, making sure the breakers work. It's intended to be a low maintenance system, which is good because Harris County Flood Control right now, their whole system is based on creeks and bayous that just flow by gravity. They mow. Harris County right now, their maintenance system for the most part is just really mowing. And so this is this will be a whole new adventure for them. So that making this as low maintenance as possible is really critical for them to be successful. Austin has had challenges with their system. They, in their infinite wisdom, use 1 inch spacing and not 2 inch spacing. Doesn't sound like a big difference, but 1 inch spacing catches a lot more crap than a 2 inch spacing. Their screens get overloaded, and when your screen gets overloaded, what happens? It gets clogged, right? And so they have problems with their screens clogging, and they can't get it cleaned off. So the good news is this isn't the first of its kind. So we have a lot of lessons learned from other projects we can take, apply it to make sure it'll work.
Having lived through a couple hurricanes here and storms, whatever, I can't picture why this isn't moving faster.
Does it only fix one problem? Fixes one part.
That's part of it. So Harris County, one of Harris County's biggest concerns, the first study doesn't look at alignments because Harris County is concerned with, well, what if people at Grays Bayou oppose the Buffalo Bayou tunnel because they want theirs first, right? Everyone wants theirs first. Cypress wants theirs first. Grays wants theirs first. So the tunnel study for Harris County looks at everything collectively first. It doesn't try to prioritize anything. This is a multiple billion-dollar infrastructure project. I mean, how long has Texas been talking about the downtown interchange? So unfortunately, big stuff like this that costs billions of dollars takes time to develop. Politics initially were kind of like, this is new. I don't want to put my weight behind it. It was election year, right? For a lot of the county judges, they weren't sure about it. So we've kind of crested that. We're in a new cycle, of longer tenure now. I've been frustrated it hasn't moved faster. It's because it's something that can help, right? Start studying it. Some of it was waiting for federal grant money. They applied for a grant from the federal government. It took 6 months. Finished application, took 6 months to get it. So we were having conversations about this with flood control a year ago. They were waiting for grants. I have the money now. So it is not a quick process, unfortunately. But we have momentum now. We're making progress in the right direction. Other questions? I appreciate everyone's attentiveness.
Stay right here.
Oh, we can't leave it.
To me, and I'm as stupid as I am, I'm not an engineer, but at least this is something that looks like it could truly solve a lot of our problems.
But why not do so much research when it's already proven that it works in all these places?
It's very frustrating to me that we have to wait. You're right. Why are we
It takes so
waiting?
long.
My other question is, if you can build and create these tunnels, why do we not have a subway system in this city?
Thank
That's
you.
what I was thinking.
Well, but he's
Oh,
talking
my
about
God.
100 feet down. or-
You can build somewhere.
Well, of course.
You can build somewhere.
I've been saying it for.
That's what I was
We have 7 miles of tunnel downtown Houston.
It's
build
ridiculous that
tunnels.
we do not have a tunnel.
And why do we have to
From
spend that
Haiti.
much money to
Study it again.
to study it when it's already proven in other
The study's
cities?
only 4 months long. So the first study to prove it would work is only 4 months, and they're going to start going into design. So the
But
study
the
gives us-
money to spend on it, they could spend on doing it instead of studying it. If we've got the same kind of soil that they have in DC, then works in that kind of soil.
Right. It's already working.
I mean,
Who's
it's
the
working.
best
Let's
person
just
for us to
chop
work
chop,
with?
you know?
County commissioner. Your county
Our new
commissioner.
Hidalgo.
Well, county judge has some influence, but the county commissioners probably have more. So Raddick, Ellis, Cagle, and Garcia. Now, those guys are all supportive, right? They approved the grant for this study. They're not supportive of it, right? They're all supportive, but they're still cautious about it.
Marilyn, why don't we prepare a letter that we can all just click on and sign?
Well, look, it's gonna make more, I will tell you, we can do that, but it will make more impact if they receive thousands of letters from individuals. Let's get moving on this, because it's not if we flood again.
That's what I
It's
mean.
when
We
we
have a-
are
Another
going to
month
flood.
or so.
We have a
Betsy?
letter like this, we can get our clients to send it, we can just.
Yeah.
If we could condition it out.
On the outlet of the water, this, you know, the intention is to dump it into Houston Ship Channel. But I'm thinking, Houston, water's gonna flow east. We saw Interstate 10 covered, you know, from here in between Beaumont, Farmers Hill, there's City City, all of that. So will this water, I mean, I'm sure the environmentalists have been looking at it, right?
What's the
It's not
impact?
just going to stay in the Ship Channel, right?
So the Houston Ship Channel during Harvey had about 250,000 cubic feet per second of conveyance. A lot of it's coming down from Lake Houston, right? So what is 10,000? So this water this is taking, the Houston Ship Channel, is already going there, right? It's already in Buffalo Bayou. It's already going. We're creating a diversion for it to get there faster. So we're not adding water to Ship Channel that wasn't already there, just getting it faster. So does that 10,000 CFS have a depreciable change in the downstream elevation? That's not the check. I think the answer to that's going to be no. At 10,000 CFS on top of 250,000 CFS, is it a quarter of an inch? It's probably not significant. Everything's so flat on that end, and the water's already getting there. When you look at a hydrograph, when it rains, White Oak Bayou is very urban, right? So it flashes quick, right? Water comes up and it goes down. So the hydrograph is steep and it comes down. Cypress Creek, Clear Creek, Buffalo is not urban in some places, so it's longer. Right? It floods for longer and then comes down. This system is going to create a fast peak, but it's capped at capacity. It only move 10,000 CFS. It's by the way it's structured. And so I think what's going to happen is it's going to peak sooner, but not as high, and it'll run constant for longer, and it's going to have a very minimal impact downstream. Yeah. On the hydraulic models, the Ship Channel turning basin is kind of the end of the world. Like the flat Earth philosophy, this falls off the end of the world. The Ship Channel is considered the bay, right? It's got enough capacity, it's wide enough and deep enough that it can take a lot of water. That's sort of true. Still riverine, still Buffalo Bayou. Some people have actually said that this tunnel can stop at Allen's Landing. Once you get to downtown Houston, just to downtown Houston, there's not enough stuff on the side of the channel downtown Houston, you can stop it there. That's gonna have to be studied, where it stops. Maybe it has to go 5 miles
I
further.
say, keep on going.
But every mile you build costs $100 million. So if you could save 5 miles, you save $500 million. So it's like, it's a fine tune, how long do you make it versus how much does it cost, versus the longer it gets, the less water can move too. It's burning ahead every mile. But there's a balance there. It needs to be found. I would just comment on the letter. If you guys write a letter, I don't know that you need to, it doesn't hurt anything. The tenor should be, we know you're talking about this tunnel idea, we really like it. It's not that you bunch of idiots, do this tunnel.
Yeah.
That's not, I don't want to promote that kind of letter writing. But hey, we saw you guys approved this grant for this tunnel study. I think it's a great idea. We really think you should support it. It can run the community. These guys are doing the right things. They're doing it slow.
But our concern is that they're dragging, we don't want them to drag their heels.
Correct. Yeah,
You know, let's
keep the momentum
keep
moving.
moving forward quickly. Yeah. Yes.
Could we draft something we could send to our SOI that might encapsulate what he gave us this morning? I think most people would say they would.
We could come up with something, yeah, we'll have to come up with
Go
something,
along.
yeah.
I think most
What you could
people
do
would
with
get
Zora,
behind
yeah.
this.
Yeah, I think that'd be great.
Does
Yeah.
this take into account how we're developing more and more west, and they're actually bragging that they're able to get away with 50% of the efficient required, laughing at us, which is why our bayous are filling faster. So is there anything in the study that takes into account future development and what restrictions they may or may not have?
So the first phase study is just focused on can you build it and will move water. The second phase study will focus on hydraulics, right? Where's the water coming from? Where's it going? So that's going to focus on future development impacts. That second phase study is a $2 million effort that'll start hopefully by the end of this year after the first phase is done. That will focus on future phase. We don't want to build something that's under capacity.
See, that's what, it just worries me because you're already saying, okay, the second study at the end of the year. And this is gonna take 10 years to build.
So
Depending on the number.
I'm saying, I would say best case scenario, this is completed with construction in 10 years from today. That's fast.
We only have 8 years compared to, that's what AOC says. 8 years live, right?
Yeah, 8 years to the end of the world, yeah. So we don't have that much of the world.
Let's just spend the 2.5 billion a year.
Right.
Yeah.
So this is not gonna be quick, right? You know, if we're in construction in 5 years, we've done well to move this thing forward. It's because there's so much has to be done to vet this thing out. There's a couple $100 million of engineering has to be
You
done.
know, I'll tell you, and we're all jaded because we drive Post Oak every day. And you drive Post Oak, we've driven it for how many years now? And there's one person working. And you think,
Yeah.
oh my gosh, where is everybody? Why don't they get 100 people out there,
Really
get it done, and get out,
The
you
good
know?
news about this project is that that machine costs so much money that if it's sitting idle, it's costing them so much money, they will do whatever they can to keep the thing moving.
Okay.
Who's paying for this? Federal, county, state?
Question. So currently, the study's being paid for by the federal government and Harris County Flood Control District.
The study, the
Yeah.
construction.
The next phase, the future studies will be paid for by the county and the federal government. The construction of this is probably be paid for by FEMA.
Wow.
FEMA does not want to pay flood damage claims anymore.
Yeah.
And they want a big solution to prevent them from things. It's an economic analysis.
Ultimately, this would save them money. They would pay for this up front.
If we can prove this,
If it doesn't matter.
if we can prove this saves them money, then it's an economic decision for them. The Army Corps could be a participant in the funding of it, the county could be a participant in the funding, the city could be a participant in the funding, the state, all of the above, Texas Water Development Board. I mean, it's a couple of different places, but at this scale, there'll have to be federal money involved. The Corps, San Antonio, Corps built that project. So,
Wasn't this great, y'all?
I don't have enough for everybody, but I'll put some up here if you guys want them. I can send this as a PDF also.
Oh, send us a PDF.
We'll include it in the sales meeting.
And then I will send the YouTube video link as
Oh,
well
I
as
love
a
that.
slide deck of the PDF. So thank you guys for the
Wasn't
audience.
this great, y'all? Like we said, we're gonna drag their heels. So, everybody, yes. 3207 Virginia is open today, 12 to 2. Oh, bye, y'all.
I'm gonna have to take a River Oaks to have a buyer around 3 million.
Next gen meeting. If you're here for the next gen meeting, don't go. We're gonna meet right here, right here.
We're gonna add advance. Tunnel itself, I didn't talk about this much, the tunnel itself is in West Virginia. So the first water